Freestyle is an interesting stroke. In fact, did you know it's not even actually a stroke? When we swim freestyle, we're actually swimming front crawl. And front crawl, well, that should be effortless. Front crawl should be a fluid motion at any given time. And the problem is that most swimmers don't treat it this way. There's usually something that's setting them off, a hitch, a pause, a moment where everything sort of slows down. And that's where their speed is lost. When I first started helping swimmers with their freestyle, I started to notice a massive trend. A lot of swimmers were just muscling harder in the water. They were fighting it in every opportunity, kind of in a stop go motion, if you will. But one of the things I realized was that swimming isn't about power, it's about rhythm, similar to the fly and breaststroke. In fact, you could probably say that all strokes are about rhythm, about tempo. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering who I am if this is your first time on this channel. I'm Coach Chris, and I am a senior coach with one of our local teams in the Northern California area, but I also help swimmers around the world through the Swim Accelerator program. I work with swimmers around the world to help them with custom tailored goals. Before we keep going, I would like to tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was working with this young swimmer. She was fast. There was no doubt about that. She could hit marks that for her age group were well beyond what they should have been. And it was incredible. But she started to plateau. She wasn't making necessary changes to her stroke. So what we did is we broke everything down. We started to review all of her stroke techniques, seeing where there were issues. And the answer became very clear. The reason she was getting so frustrated, why she was getting out of practice and out of meets and saying, I'm pulling so hard, but I just feel like I'm swimming through molasses, was because she was pausing. Her arms essentially were out of sync with the rest of her stroke. One arm would hang at the catch, while the other would sort of finish and see what was going on. It was like they were checking in with each other through every single stroke. It made her stroke very inefficient. She kept losing speed, having to fight to stay high in the water at any given time. And this is the problem that I see with most freestylers. You're basically creating drag. You're losing momentum, you're pausing at the catch, and you're losing that speed. After that, it doesn't matter how strong your pull is. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind or even sinking. So, what did we do to fix this? Well, I introduced her to the forward motion freestyle technique. Essentially, this is a stroke that is like being a gear through a machine. Like a machine, the gears never catch up, meaning your arms never catch up to each other. One arm pulls, the other recovers. Opposite, always in that movement. So there's no pause at the catch, there's no pause at the finish. You don't need to have any check-ins or anything else. Your hands are constantly working to pull you forward. And you're building momentum with every single stroke, taking the speed from the stroke before and applying it into that next stroke. So your speed stays constant and steady all the way through your swim. The greatest part about this is that it's not about rushing your stroke or pulling faster necessarily. It's just about rhythm. The moment one hand finishes, the other begins. It's seamless, it's fluid, it's powerful, and it can be applied to any length, whether you're sprinting a 50 or swimming a 500. This constant motion, constant momentum can keep you moving while keeping your speed and energy levels constant. Add a fast male slot kicking on the back end of that with good hip rotation and good hip drive, then you become unstoppable. So one of the drills I like to use to help introduce this concept to young swimmers is a drill I learned from Coach Mike Bottom of Michigan. It's basically a balance drill. Throw on a snorkel, throw on a pair of fins to help. If you want, I've even used tennis balls, had my swimmers grip tennis balls in their hands. And what you do is as you push off, as you start to swim, you balance, you keep that energy and find those balance moments as you hold that core, hold that line of your body position in place. Your arms are always moving opposite each other in a slow, controlled motion. You should feel how balanced until you reach that part where your arm finally comes in to get that entry. That is where you throw. That's where you get that momentum, that surge of energy. And as you practice this drill, you will feel those bigger muscles gain into each and every stroke, the lats, the back, the chest. You'll take the shoulders out of the equation. They won't even really exist. With that in mind, you want to always keep that balance. You'll find that balance in between. The idea is to keep your arms moving with minimal hesitation. No pause at the catch, no hanging out at the top of your stroke, just a constant forward motion. Remember the swimmer I was telling you about? After about 2 weeks of working on this forward motion freestyle, everything changed at that meet. Her stroke was smoother, her hips stayed higher in the water, and she started dropping time in each of her freestyle events that weekend. She told me afterwards she got out of the 100 free. She told me, she goes, I feel like I'm gliding through the water instead of fighting it. I felt like maybe I could have even gone faster because I have so much energy left at the end. That's the power of fixing your rhythm. One thing you need to remember is that freestyle isn't about a burst of energy. It's about preserving momentum. Every stroke should start with a pull to get you moving forward. Every movement should flow into that next one. If you're pausing, you're out of sync. You're robbing yourself of speed and efficiency. But when you master forward motion, you unlock new levels of swimming. It becomes effortless. It becomes fast. If this resonated with you, I've got even more great videos for you to check out. My channel is full of tips and tricks that you can use and build habits to make you go from average swimmer to an elite swimmer. And if you're ready to dive even deeper, let's work together one on one. Join the Swim Accelerator for free, and then sign up for a one on one session with me to get private coaching. We'll work together to emphasize your goals and the training you need in order to get faster. Fix your rhythm, unlock your speed, and I will see you in the next videos.